1993, right there toward the end of the ARAH line. We had in '93 some some hideous color schemes. Everything was bright neon colors. There's a lot of things in the '90s were, but we'll talk about mailaways for a minute. There were three single mail-away figures. The Deep Six version 4, a Sound Attack General Hawk that had this big hideous jetpack backpack, and the the Create a Cobra. Yeah, that's a famous one, the Create a Cobra. And then we had the Copter Pilot 2-pack with Interrogator and Captain Altitude. No, Major Altitude, my bad. So, I've got all those except for the Create a Cobra, and I had the General Hawk somewhere, but I'm not sure exactly where it's at. But I've got this guy right here. Deep Six, version 4. He is sealed. And, this thing's been in the bottom of a box forever. He came with a file card that's not in the package, and it's odd because it's printed on white cardboard. And that's not something that we saw a whole lot with the mail-away figures. Most of them had a red back file card that was printed on a glossy surface on cardboard. But, I mean, this is, it's the right thickness, but it's almost like a white poster board. It's, I don't know. Like I said, this thing's been in the bottom of a box for well over a decade. Let's hit up the trusty yojo.com and see what kind of information we can find out about Deep Six version 4 in his bright neon yellow suit and his gold gun, which is actually kind of cool. The figure came with some gold paint apps, a gold gun. The helmet matches the body. And he came with a figure stand. That was one of the things in the 90s. They started including figure stands with everyone. And, sometimes you're going to bust out a heel. I'm not going to put him on here because this guy is currently... I've been looking at completed items on eBay, and he's going for over $100. I've seen some go for around $100 to $135 for a sealed, complete with the file card example. So, Yojo.com has a breakdown of the file card, has his file name, Malcolm R. Willoughby, serial number, grade, Chief Petty Officer, birthplace, Baltimore, Maryland, primary specialty, NEC Master Diver, secondary specialty, Underwater Demolitions Instructor. And I'll just read off what the file card says about him here. Always a lone and individualist. Always a lone. Let's see it. Oh, okay. So that's actually supposed to say always a loner. Always a loner and an individualist. Deep Six rarely talks to his G.I. Joe teammates and barely remembers their code names, but his loyalty to the organization is unquestionable. He has recently given up crossword puzzles and bottle cap collecting to devote his off-duty hours to recording and studying whale songs. He is a qualified underwater demolitions instructor and an avid supporter of public television. Okay, so he's given up crossword puzzles and bottle cap collecting, which apparently took up an enormous amount of his time. Let's see, underwater demolitions instructor, avid supporter of public television. Cobra is always coming up with new underwater specialists, none of which can fill Deep Six's flippers. It severely cuts down on efficiency if while sabotaging offshore drilling platforms or transoceanic cables, Cobra divers have to constantly look over their shoulders to make sure that Deep Six isn't sneaking up behind them to cut their air hoses. So this is Deep Six. Kind of an odd guy with odd hobbies. Not that, our hobbies aren't odd at all. No variations of this figure are known to exist. Deep Six version 4's mold was originally used to create the 1989 Deep Six version 2. Okay, so it's the exact same mold, same figure, different color schemes. The original in 1989 was done in a light blue with green and orange paint apps, and he had more accessories than what this guy comes with. So as you all know, as you've seen from previous videos, I've been having these card backs printed for these clamshell cases as a way to display my loose figures. And anyone who owns mint in package mail-away figures knows that there's not a convenient way to display these guys. You know, what are you going to do with it? Leave it in a box, leave it in a bin. You're not really going to get to enjoy it. Some people like to open figures. And in a previous video, I opened a 1985, a sealed, factory sealed 1985 Crimson Guard. And the only reason I opened it is because it was a cut card. There was no real display to that. There was no value to it. So I see, it kind of gave me a little bit of a bug. I got a taste of something that might not be so good. But mail-aways. What are you going to do with them to display them, except open them up? So this figure, factory sealed. Like I said, I bought this thing years and years ago, and it's been in the bottom of a tote for probably close to a decade since I've had it out. I showed it in the video with the Crimson Guard. Yeah, I got some scissors here in my hand. I'm going to open this guy up. I don't intend to ever sell him. It's not an investment for me. I own this figure because I enjoy it. I enjoy collecting G.I. Joes. And, you know, for years, I was staunchly against opening any sealed figures. But if you want to display it, if you want to have it on display and whatever you do, a lot of collectors, that's what they do. They put them out, you know, so they can look at them or to show other people. I just had a Joe Bro come over to my house not too long ago, a week or so, maybe, about a week and a half. And he came over and we hung out, and you know, we could have stood in here in this room and talked for hours and hours about all of these figures and stuff, and it was so cool. But you don't really have that with these. What are you going to do? Pass this around? Oh, that's a cool plastic bag you got there, man. Let's open them up. Let's smell 1993. Okay, 1993 really doesn't smell like anything. Yeah, I just smells like plastic. There he is. Someone had made the comment that I should be handling this, that I should be handling figures that I open like that with gloves or whatever. And I'm like, nah, I really don't care that much about it. So yes, I just destroyed the value of this figure. No, I didn't. This figure is worth way more than that to me. Being open, oh man, it is crispy fresh. Crispy fresh, as a buddy of mine likes to say. A crispy mint figure, or minty. Beautiful figure. It's got no paint wear, it's got no scuffs, it's got no anything. It's not like it's been getting jostled around in this bag for the last 10 years. It's been sitting in the bottom of a tote. Helmet. Beautiful example. Not a scratch on it. See the sheen, the shine, the glare. This makes me feel like I'm, you know, 10 to 12 years old again. I would have been 11 to 12 whenever this came out in 1993. I was born in 82. The Gold Gun, another beautiful example. No signs of wear from being in a box or a bag full of accessories. This is great. This really is great. And this little devil stand, I don't like the stands anymore. Not since I started messing with these clamshells. I just don't care for the stands anymore. So the way that I'm going to pack this away, the way that I'm going to display it in one of these clamshell cases, these polymer bags, crystal clear polymer bags. I have a specific way that I put accessories into these bags, and I'll go with the figure stand. Actually, I'm probably, since it's the thinnest piece, I'll put that in last. I'll put the helmet in so that the top will display out the bubble. And drop the rifle in, the laser, the underwater, whatever the hell this is. It's an underwater device with a scope on it. Yeah, it makes a ton of sense. And then I'll drop the figure stand in. And all of the, like the helmet is in a specific way so you see the top of it. The figure stand is in so that you see the front of it. And then I'll push the air out and get it all sealed up nice and tight. And there we go. That's going to be part of our display. And then I'm using a wide bubble. I stock 2 different sizes of bubbles for these. This is for figures that don't have a lot of accessories. I actually put my Mickey Mouse Cobra Commander in one of these to display him, and it worked out beautifully. But this is for figures that have more accessories, or accessories that you want to put into a bag and be able to see, like this guy here on the Python Patrol card back, or this Black Major figure, the Snake Eyes V2s. Anybody that has an animal companion or pet. Here's a good example of a vintage figure with a pet, Mutton Junkyard, and everything is displayed beautifully here in the Slaughters Marauders card back. So I'll use the wider bubble to get this guy into a display here. And you know, the great thing about this color is this figure has not seen daylight in quite a while. No sun or anything, and there's no discoloration, there's no yellowing or anything like that. His head is a little wobbly and loose. I believe that the other loose deep six that I have, I believe his head is also a little bit wobbly and loose as well. So I use the top of the bag as kind of a support for the figure, because as you can see, he's a little loose in this wide bubble package. But I'll fold it over a couple times so that you have the accessories facing out and the bag is folded up at the back. And I'll just put that right behind him, and it'll kind of help hold him in place. He's not moving against the plastic bubble. He's not held there tightly or anything. It just holds him in place, and there we go. 1993 Deep Six version 4 with a custom G.I. Joe Explosion card back in a nice protective clamshell case. This figure is now beautifully displayed, and he's not on a figure stand, so there's no chance of like walking in and like, ah, shit, what happened? My figure's ankle broke, or anything like that. No falling over, no dust. Sunlight doesn't get in this room really. I've got blackout curtains. I wish they were a little more dense, but you know, I'll probably end up putting shades up at some point. But yeah, and there's no sunlight hitting any of the figures that I have here. So here he is. Yes, I just opened a sealed 1993 Deep Six version 4 mail away. Hey, you know what I forgot to do? 2 things here. I'm going to pop this clamshell open. The original package, I did not completely sever that, so I'm going to put this packaging behind that custom card back. And now the file card. The file card will also fit back here. There is room for the file card. So I can keep that with the figure. Get it closed up here, snapped together, so you have the displayed figure in the front, and if you turn it over, you have the file card in the original packaging he was in. I've done that with several figures. I don't really... Mainframe. Mainframe is when I used a wide bubble for Mainframe, and his file cards here in the back. I have a whole bag full of file cards. Wasn't really sure what I was going to do with them, for quite a while, and now as I get my collection of figures into these clamshells with the custom card backs, I'll just stick a file card back here with them, because I'm not doing these in a these card backs are all generalized, even for sub teams. They're generalized. I'm not putting figure names or character names or anything like that on them. They're just a generalized display piece, and they work for any figure of that sub team or any general GI Joe figure. So having the file card in the back, being able to fit this into the clamshell case is very helpful. There's a lot of figures I have in these cases that are third party, and they don't have file cards, they don't have bios or anything like that. They're just themed figures, lots of troop builders and whatnot. Like this guy is a Red Lasers Army Python Viper, and there's no, I don't have a file card or anything for him, but yeah, I mean these things work out awesome. It's just another slat wall display like this. The figures take up a lot less space than a full carded figure, and it works out great for me. So hopefully, I know that a lot of you have purchased clamshells and cards from me, and I see that you all enjoy them, and that really makes me happy. This is something that I initially intended to do for myself, and to have other people enjoy it as much as I do really means a lot to me, and it makes me very happy that I'm able to help bring something out into the custom side of the collector community that other people can use and enjoy. So, alright guys, I hope that you've enjoyed, speaking of all this enjoyment, I hope that you all have enjoyed watching me open this guy up, maybe give you a little bit of nostalgia. Hopefully it didn't trigger anybody, but it was definitely, it was fun for me, and I'm going to do more of these. There are other figures out there that I want to buy sealed in mail-away packages, because what better way to obtain a perfectly mint figure than to buy one that's sealed and open it up? And no, that does not mean that I'm opening any of those. I paid way too much for some of them for what they are to open any of them up. So you all know what it's like trying to collect mint on card figures. And if anything, this has rejuvenated or reignited my love for loose figures. Some of you guys that are close to me, or that I talk to a lot, you know my feelings on loose figures. I don't typically collect loose figures. I have a bunch. I have a collection of loose figures, but it's not something I actively seek out. And I think that now, given this option here, I think now I'm going to maybe start seeking out some loose figures, as long as they are up to the mint standards that I really enjoy. And definitely going to open up some more mail-away figures, because there's not a really good way to display those unless you want to send them off and have them graded and left in the package, and then you've got a block of acrylic that you can't touch. Yeah, I know. I'm repeating words that have been said to me to justify opening figures or to justify collecting loose figures, and I just there's a newfound enjoyment in this for me, a newfound fun in G.I. Joe collecting for me now with these loose figures. So, alright guys, be sure to hit that subscribe button if you're watching this on YouTube, and stay tuned for other videos. Thanks for watching, and thank you for joining me. Yo Joe.